Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Precious Styling. In today's video I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful crisscross knotted gown that can be styled in two different ways. So without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial for the day. To make this style, you need at least 2 yards of fabric, or 2.5 to 3 yards of fabric if you're on the bigger side. Now let me talk about the fabric. For the fabric, you need a fabric that puffs, probably a light fabric, but something that puffs, something that would stand. Let me use that word. That's the kind of fabric that you will need to get this style very well. And so I folded my 2 yards of fabric twice. As you can see, this is on fold, and now I'll be marking 2.5 inches across the folded edge. So I'm just going to mark that all the way down. I will be using this for something later on, and I decided to do this part first. Later on, you'll know why I had to do this part first. After this is done, I'll be connecting all the points I marked with my roller in a straight line. And then I'll cut through the line and set the strip aside. At this point, you can pin both the front and back fabrics together so it stays in place. And right now, I'll open up the fabric and separate the fabric from each other. And I'm going to place one fabric on top of the other on fold. So one is going to be for the front pattern and the other is going to be for the back pattern. This area measuring represents the shoulder, while this other area that is folded represents the length of the dress. So this is how long the dress is going to be. So let me just show you how long the dress is. So when I measured from the shoulder to the hem of the fabric, what I have there is 34 inches, as you can see. Now measuring the shoulder, what I have is 26 inches. This is how wide the dress is going to be. This includes the shoulder as well as the sleeves, and this is on fold. And so I'll be marking my neck width. The neck width I'm working with is 3 inches. So I'm going to be marking 3 inches on the front and the back fabric. I would also be marking my neck depth. The neck depth at the back is 1 inch. So I'm just going to mark that there. And then I'll connect both points together, creating my neckline. For the front neckline, I'm going to be going down from the shoulder by 14 inches, which is the measurement from my shoulder to my underbust. But due to the fact that there would be a joining at the shoulder, I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch to that to accommodate the joining. So that will now be 14.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark 14.5 inches there. From that 14.5 inches that we marked, I am going to go down and mark 18 inches, which is just 2 inches below my waistline. And so I'm going to be creating my front neckline, which is going to be V-shaped. Now let's cut out the necklines. Now we're going to be giving the lower part of the dress the style as is seen in the inspiration. I'll just place this on the floor so you can see what I'm doing clearly. At the area where we previously marked 18 inches on the center front, you may choose to give that area a diagonal line to the edge of the dress. Okay, you could choose to do that. You could choose to give it a curve. You could choose to do anything to that area. However, I'm just going to be creating a kind of curve, somehow diagonal line, but it's going to be curvy all the way down. Okay, so that's just what I'm going to be doing. So anyhow you want to create that part, you can just do that. And so I'm going to be cutting through that line I already marked. So guys, please, at this point you just need to be careful. I initially pinned both front and back fabrics together so that the neckline would be equal, but I mistakenly cut through the front and the back. At this point you will see I made a mistake by cutting through the front and the back, so you have to be careful guys, so you don't make the same mistake like I did. Okay, so you separate the front from the back. if you can, so that you cut the back. The back does not need this cutting, just the front needs the cutting. You can see the mistake I did. Even though I eventually did some damage control by stitching the back part I cut out, the result wasn't so neat like I wanted it to be. So guys, be careful. So now I will just separate the center front of the front pattern. So I just opened up the back pattern, and as you can see, I have stitched the area where I cut through mistakenly. So right now I'm going to be placing the front pattern on the back pattern, shoulder to shoulder, right sides facing each other. I'm just going to align both the front and the back patterns together. I would like you to pay attention to this part now. So I'm going to be measuring the total neckline that we have from the back to the sides and even the extension to the waist. Okay, so I'm just measuring everything you see there. The measurement of the back is 9 inches and I have noted that already. Now I'm going to be measuring the sides. The total measurement of one part of the V neckline plus the waist extension was 18.5 inches, as you can see, and this applies to the other area as well. So the neckline itself is 15 inches while the waist extension is 3.5 inches. Let me illustrate it using this paper. If this is the back neckline and when we measured it we got 9 inches, when we measured one part of the V neckline and the extension we got 18.5 inches. This applies to the other part of the V neckline, 18.5 inches, the neckline plus the extension. Okay, that means 18.5 inches plus 9 inches plus 18.5 inches. What we're going to have is 46 inches. So we're going to cut a long strip of fabric that is as long as 46 inches. It could be more, but let it just be up to 46 inches. This is where the strip of fabric that we cut out initially comes into play. As you can see, when I measured it, I had up to 46 inches and I even had extra. The total length I have is 53 inches and that would be more than enough for what we want to use it to do. I want to reiterate something. You see this tiny waist extension, this particular area, when we measure just that area, what we have is 3.5 inches. Can you see? That is what we have, minus the neckline. So you are going to put that into account, 3.5 inches. The neckline itself, just the V neckline itself, is 15 inches, while that tiny waist extension is 3.5 inches on both sides. So now it means that the neckline itself, that is the V neckline itself, is 15 inches on one side and on the other side is 15 inches. The back neckline is 9 inches. Okay, so 15 inches plus 15 inches on both sides of the V neckline plus 9 inches at the back of the neckline. What we have is 39 inches. Please note that 39 inches, and we're going to put that into consideration for the neckline we're trying to create. Now we're going to take our long strip of fabric and we're going to fold it in half this way, and we're going to measure 39 inches divided by 2. That would give us 19.5 inches. So I'm just going to measure 19.5 inches on fold and I'm going to mark that area down. After this is done, we're going to be opening up the fabric on fold and we're going to be placing that 39 inches we marked on both ends of the long strip of fabric. We're going to be placing them together. So we'll just open this fabric and we'll place them right sides facing each other this way, and we'll just pin that area down. You can go ahead and measure that same 19.5 inches on fold. Now that you've opened up the strip of fabric, just measure it again to be sure of the measurements, and then you're going to find the midpoint of the strip Okay, you just find the midpoint of the strip, and once that is done, extend a line from the midsection to the end of the strip of fabric. Just rule a straight line from the midpoint to the end of the strip. Having done this, you stitch on top of that line that you just ruled. Now you just stitch on top of that line from the point you marked to the end of the strip. As you can see, I have stitched that line down. Right now I will just open up this piece of fabric, so I'll just open it up straight this way, and this is what you have. So what we're basically doing is we're trying to create a kind of kimono collar. So that's just what we're basically doing. So I'll open it up this way, and this midsection now represents the V neckline as well as the back neckline, just like a nose. So if I put it on my shoulders like this is how it looks like. So that's what we're trying to achieve. And so I will be placing the V neckline of this strip of fabric on the V neckline of the fabric. Okay, so I will align those two areas together, and I would be attaching the waist extension to the borders of this strip of fabric. Okay, just watch what I'm doing. I don't know how to explain this better, but I think the video is explanatory, so just watch what I'm doing. I'll pin that waist extension area down, and I will be taking it to my sewing machine to stitch the areas I pinned. For now, I won't be joining the upper part. I will just be joining the lower part, and I would leave the upper part for now. I have stitched that area, and this is what I have. So guys, pay attention, because this is the major part we'll be concentrating on in this video. So that's excess there, you could still leave it. Do not cut it out, because you may still need it for something else. Right now I would be taking one part of the fabric and placing it inside the collar. So I'm basically trying to do a twist. Okay, so I'm trying to create the twisted effect you see on the style inspiration. So you would take that fabric or both fabrics multiple times inside the collar. You just need to do lots of walking around here. You need to do lots of adjustments, because you are trying to create an illusion of twisted bodies. So that's what I would just do. So whenever you do this insertion inside the collar, you would either get alternate right and wrong sides of the fabric. So you keep on making this twist till you simultaneously get either the right sides of the fabric facing you or either the wrong sides of the fabric facing you. And now when you're making this insertion, I do not mean you should make it multiple times till it affects the length of the collar. So 2 or 4 times is enough. So you do not need to put it up to 5-6 times, because if you do that, the length of the collar would be shortened, and it may actually affect the initial pattern the fabric was cut in. Once you're done, you should have your collar looking like this. So I'll just pin down the collar closest to the knot to keep it in place. I would place the back part of the fabric on the front fabric, shoulder to shoulder, right sides facing each other. So I'm going to join the shoulders together, because we are going to be sewing the collar all around the neckline. So guys, I have stitched the collar all around. Right now I would also be hemming the sleeve from bottom to the other bottom. I'll be doing that on both sides. I would also be hemming the area in between the knots to the base. After doing that, I'm going to be determining my sleeve opening. So my sleeve opening would be 7 inches from the shoulder point. So from the shoulder, I am going to go down by 7 inches and I'm going to mark that point there. And from that point that I marked, I'm going to be sewing down to the hem of the fabric, and I'll do this on the other side as well. So flipping the dress to the wrong side, we would create a means of making the dress fitted at the waistline. So right now I have 2 strips of fabric for the front and 2 strips of fabric for the back. So I'm going to be measuring the shoulder to waist measurement of the front. The shoulder to waist measurement anyway falls around just below the knotted area a little bit. I'm going to be measuring my bust span, which is 9 inches. So I'm just going to measure half of it on one part and measure 4.5 inch on the other part, making 9 inches. So once that is done, I will be placing the strip of fabric I have on the point I marked, and later on I'll be stitching the fabric on that part I marked. Okay, so I'm going to do similar thing at the back. I'm going to measure the shoulder to waist measurement at the back as well, and I'm also going to measure my bust span measurement, and then I'm also going to place the 2 strips of fabrics I have on the part I marked, and I will be taking it to my sewing machine to stitch on top of that part. After fixing the strips inwardly, I place this on my mannequin. You can also place this on yourself to define the twist, you know, to make it more crisscrossed. So I just place this on my mannequin and I'm going to be making some adjustments to the knots. So I'm going to be using my needle and thread to keep the knot in place. So at this point you can just do whatever you want to do, how you want the knot to look like, the illusion you want to create. You can go ahead and do this part any way you want to do it. So I'm just going to tack the knot in place so it's very secure. I am done tacking the knot in place. So these are what the strips inward are meant for. You just tie it behind you if you want it to be fitted at the front, and if you want the back to be fitted as well, you can also tie the strip at the back at your front so that the back is fitted. So with this, we've come to the end of the tutorial. And so guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, hit on the subscribe button so you wouldn't miss out on future content such as this. I'll be seeing you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.